Welcome to the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, also known as the AAIP webinar. My name is Sandra, and today I will be providing an overview of the Worker Expression of Interest, also known as the EOI. Before we begin, please be aware of our disclaimer and copyright notice. We have made every effort to give you correct information, but if there is a discrepancy between this presentation and the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program eligibility criteria and processes described on our alberta.ca website, the website will prevail. Please note that copyright on this presentation belongs to the Government of Alberta. Today's agenda includes several topics to help you understand our expression of interest system, which was introduced on September 30th, 2024. First, we will talk about the immigration landscape within which Alberta is operating and what led to the need for an expression of interest system. Second, we will discuss how it works. Next, we will outline the difference between Alberta's expression of interest system and that of the federal government's express entry. We will then get into more details about the points grid, where to find data about the points grid, and how to contact the program with questions that you may have that are not answered by our website. Alberta needed to launch an expression of interest system to manage application intake effectively and efficiently. Since 2024, we have known that there are more than 100,000 temporary foreign workers in the province, many of whom are seeking to live and work in Alberta permanently. Unfortunately, Alberta has a very limited annual allocation for the number of nominations that may be issued by the AAIP. In 2022, Alberta's allocation was 6,500. In 2023, it was increased by 50% to 9,750, which was the same level for 2024. Although Alberta has asked for more allocations, we know the federal government is reducing immigration levels across Canada. With fewer than 10,000 allocations per year available to the program and 10 times that number of temporary workers in the province, the demand to immigrate to Alberta through the AAIP far exceeds the allocations available. Alberta must work within these limits and ensure the AAIP is maximizing the allocations available to ensure that all sectors of the province have opportunities to access the program to enhance their economic successes. This is especially important for critical sectors of our province's economy, such as healthcare, construction, and tourism. Alberta's expression of interest system will position the program to support the most critical economic needs. Alberta's expression of interest works like many other expression of interest systems used by other provinces and territories and the federal government, but there are differences. Anyone across the globe may access the AAIP portal to create an expression of interest. Once submitted, the person enters the AAIP Worker Expression of Interest pool. Please be aware that being in the pool does not mean you will be invited to submit a full application. It is possible to create an expression of interest and never receive an invitation to apply. AAIP will send invitations to apply based not only on the highest points, but also using a combination of factors from the expression of interest submitted. AAIP has multiple priorities, targets, and streams, pathways to meet each year, and ongoing assessments of the pool will help AAIP focus how to send invitations to apply that best meet our economic immigration needs, both now and for the future. It is important to understand that receiving an invitation to submit a full application does not guarantee eligibility for a nomination. The invitation allows someone to apply, but they should only submit an application if they believe they meet all of the eligibility criteria of the stream or pathway to which they were invited. It is also very important to draw distinctions between Alberta's provincial nominee program, the AAIP, and how the federal government operates express entry.
Both the AAIP and Express Entry use an application intake management system or expression of interest pool to prioritize applications. For AAIP, the worker expression of interest allows individuals to identify that they have an interest in immigrating to Alberta through our program. For the federal government, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada manages 3 economic immigration programs through Express Entry: Canadian Experience Class, Federal Skilled Workers, and Federal Skilled Trades. You must create an Express Entry profile through the federal government to be considered for selection through Express Entry and to be invited to apply for permanent residence directly. One of Alberta's streams, the Express Entry stream, is linked to the Federal Express Entry system. If nominated by Alberta through the Express Entry portal, a person receives additional points to be drawn federally in an Express Entry draw. If you have an Express Entry profile, it is important that you identify that profile number in your Alberta Worker Expression of Interest.
Now, let's talk in more detail about Alberta's points grid, and then we will look at a few sample scenarios.
The worker expression of interest is broken into 2 main categories of factors and points. The first we will discuss are the human capital factors. What is human capital? Human capital may be broadly defined as the knowledge, skills, and other assets that people have grown or developed throughout their lives. The maximum number of points available from human capital factors is 69. If the AAIP invites you to submit an application, you will need to provide evidence to prove points claimed are accurate when you submit your application for nomination. AAIP will verify all points claimed through supporting documents and source verification procedures. Education. The maximum number of education points available is 22. You can receive up to 12 points for the highest level of education completed. If your highest level of education was completed outside of Canada, you may only claim points based on the outcome of your education credential assessment. If your highest level of education was completed in Alberta or Canada, you are eligible for up to 10 additional points. Language. The maximum number of language points available is 13. Points are based on the lowest score of all 4 language competencies. You must review your test scores, compare them to the CLB or the NCLC, and then use the lowest listening, reading, writing, or speaking score to determine the points to claim. If you have a score of 4 or higher in both English and French, then you will receive additional points for language. Work experience. Total work experience points are based on any experience as meeting the time threshold in Canada or abroad. Work experience in Canada. AAIP will score the worker EOI for both experience in Alberta and in another province or territory in Canada, not Alberta, and will award the higher points between the 2 scores. Age. Points may be claimed depending on your age range to a maximum of 5. Family connection. Points may be claimed for having a family member living in Alberta who is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident over 18 years of age. Eligible family members, including those related to the principal applicant, such as the parent, child, or sibling, documents to prove family relationships will be required to verify points at the time of application submission. Points are not awarded for in-laws. Economic factors. What are the economic factors? These factors are focused on ties to Alberta's regional, sector, labor market, and economic immigration needs, and work readiness or qualification recognition. Alberta job offer. Permanent, that is, indeterminate and full-time job offers qualify for 10 points. Any job offer qualifies. It does not have to be based on a work permit. Sector-specific job offers. If you have an endorsement letter from a rural renewal stream designated community, or a job offer from a tourism and hospitality sector member employer, or a law enforcement job offer with a member of the Alberta Association of Chiefs of Police, you are eligible to claim 6 points. Regional needs. If your job offer is in a rural community, either a designated community or anywhere outside of the Calgary or Edmonton census metropolitan areas, you may claim 5 points. Regulatory requirements to practice in Alberta. Only those who have an Alberta job offer in a regulated occupation and who meet the requirements set out by the professional regulatory body or by apprenticeship and industry training to practice in that occupation in Alberta will be awarded points.
The AAIP sets draw parameters in advance of each draw based on a number of factors. In this first sample scenario, we show how many points a person may obtain who may have the most interest in the Alberta opportunity stream. In this scenario, AAIP may invite this individual to apply through a draw targeting prospective applicants using instructions that may include factors such as a minimum of 55 total points from their expression of interest, a job offer for full-time employment in Alberta, total work experience of 6 months or more, education in Alberta, work experience of 6 months or more in Alberta, and a valid eligible work permit type. In this case, the individual would receive an invitation to apply. In this second sample scenario, we show how many points a person may obtain who may have the most interest in the rural renewal stream. In this scenario, AAIP may invite this individual to apply through a draw targeting prospective applicants using instructions that may include factors such as a minimum of 65 total points from their expression of interest, a job offer for full-time employment in Alberta, total work experience of 12 months or more, work experience of 6 months or more in Alberta, an endorsement letter in a designated community, and a valid work permit. In this case, the individual would receive an invitation to apply.
In this third sample scenario, we show how many points a person may obtain who may have the most interest in the tourism and hospitality stream. In this scenario, AAIP may invite this individual to apply through a draw targeting prospective applicants using instructions that may include factors such as pathway of interest is tourism and hospitality stream, Alberta opportunity stream, rural renewal stream, express entry stream for family connection or priority sectors, and a minimum of 50 points from their expression of interest, as well as language level of 4 or higher, valid work permit based on a labor market impact assessment, and work permit does not expire before 1 month from the date of the draw, stream eligible National Occupation Classification Code, job offer for full-time employment in Alberta, job offer for a tourism and hospitality sector member employer, and work experience of 6 months or more in Alberta. In this case, the individual would receive an invitation to apply. In this fourth sample scenario, we show how many points a person may obtain who may have had the most interest in the express entry stream accelerated tech pathway. In this scenario, AAIP may invite this individual to apply through a draw targeting prospective applicants using instructions that may include factors such as express entry profile that expires in more than 5 months, a minimum of 75 total points from their expression of interest, language level is 5 or higher, valid work permit, a pathway eligible National Occupational Classification Code, a pathway eligible North American Industry Classification System Code, and a job offer for full-time employment in Alberta. In this case, the individual would receive an invitation to apply. If the minimum score was set higher, a total score required was 80, the individual would not receive an invitation to apply, but the worker EOI would remain in the pool and could be selected in a future draw. Alberta provides a wide range of helpful data publicly on this website. You are encouraged to visit this area of the site for open data on how the AAIP is progressing through its application volume, the number of nominations that were made available to it for the calendar year, the number of nomination spaces remaining for the calendar year, how nominations are distributed among different streams and pathways, and other information to help you understand the limits of the program and the priorities of the program. We receive a lot of inquiries about status, processing times, why some applications are being prioritized before others, and more, all of which can be answered through this page. This page is very useful to help address many of the questions people have about these topics and gain insight about the program's processing activities in general. AAIP makes every effort to provide detailed information on its website about how to express interest, how to apply, and what to expect after expressing interest or applying. If there are details unavailable on the website with which you need to seek clarity, you may reach us by visiting this webpage. Here you will find a web form that you may use to ask questions about the AAIP. Please note that questions that are already answered by information available on our website will not receive a reply. Only questions that require detail unavailable will receive a customized response from one of our staff.
Thank you for joining us today, and we hope this information helps you understand how to access the AAIP and how individuals may be invited to apply for a nomination to use to apply for permanent residence.